Some bathrooms just hit differently. They're clean, calm, and they feel like they belong in a boutique hotel, not in an IKEA showroom. And these next 5 bathrooms that I'm going to show you aren't about following the latest trends, they're about good design choices that make their spaces feel intentional. And each one of them shows what happens when you focus on scale, contrast, and materials that complement each other instead of compete with each other. And so you're going to see custom looking details, soft color palettes, natural textures, and layouts that feel built in instead of decorated after the fact. So whether it's the lighting, the cabinetry, or the tile choices in the showers, every element looks like it was chosen to last. And so let's get into the first bathroom here. And the first thing that stands out to me here is that this vanity looks really custom, not generic at all. The cabinet drawers aren't flat, they're fluted, curved, and just carefully detailed, and so it gives dimension and texture to the space without needing any extra color. Now, this sink and counter are also carved from a single piece, so there's no seams, no drop-ins, just a solid surface that looks sleek and just honestly built in. It makes everything feel really intentional, like this was a space designed from the ground up. And even the faucet, this is something that you don't see very often, but even the faucet here gets its own little backsplash. So instead of being mounted directly onto the wall, the brass faucet here is anchored on a small little raised block, which is kind of like a mini pedestal that, again, just adds a bit more depth and structure to the space. Now, these asymmetrical mirrors add just the right amount of quirk for me. You know, they're wavy, they've got this vintage style, and so they avoid looking too polished. Instead, they feel like they were collected throughout the homeowner's life, not like they're something mass-produced. I also really love the shower tiles in here. They're handmade, they're tonal, and they're not just patterned, but they actually look soft and a little bit chalky with some natural variations that add a ton of richness without ever feeling loud. And then the lighting in here adds warmth without adding any clutter. So you've got these leather and brass sconces hanging beside these beautiful mirrors, which just give some soft light and quite a bit of visual height to the space, which balances out all the earthy tones below. Okay, so moving on to bathroom number 2 here, we've got these oversized black trim windows behind the tub that give you a built-in view. So there's really no need for art on the walls here when the outdoors is actually the star of the space. Now, the shape of this tub feels really modern without dropping into being trendy. You know, it's got this deep green finish and these beautiful rounded edges that make it look like a custom piece. It's super solid, and in my view, it's totally timeless. There's no claw feet or no gimmicks like that. It's just a simple but beautiful piece that you can use for decades. And with that said, a lot of what's in this bathroom sits on really solid materials, right? We've got these stone countertops, the matte black hardware, and real wood veneer. So no plastic looking surfaces, but instead it's just super clean and really grounded. And the palette, in my view, is just right. You've got warm woods, cool stones, black metals. So it's all neutral colors, but there is still some contrast. So we're never going full gray on gray or beige on beige. Nothing boring like that. This is natural, but it's really sophisticated at the same time. Okay, so moving on to bathroom number 3 here. And again, we've got a very similar tub with this one in white. But what I want to focus on here is that this arched alcove makes the tub feel even more important, right? This tub is not just placed in the room, it's actually framed. And so this fluted wood paneling that we have here and this curved cutout turn this soaking tub into the focal point of the room and make it just really striking. But to be honest, every part of this room feels completely styled, right? We've got these simple open shelves, the carefully spaced bottles, the rolled towels. It really feels like a high-end spa because it's clean, symmetrical, and kind of editorial without looking fake. And it's obvious as well that the materials here are high-end all across the board, right? We've got this dramatic marble on the walls and countertops, the textured wood on that back panel, and these gleaming brass fixtures, which are all in a single unified color palette that really works well together. And the lighting is, something to remark on as well. You know, he's got this globe chandelier and these stacked pendant lamps by the mirror, so every fixture feels like it could be in a gallery, not just in a bathroom like this. And on top of all that, the glass walls let the entire design breathe, right? instead of boxing in the shower, this full height glass enclosure keeps the entire space just visually open, and so the marble, the arches, and the floor tiles can all shine at the same time. So moving on to bathroom number 4, and I really love this one. I could totally see this one as being one that I have in a future home of mine. Some of the other ones that we've seen are a little grand, frankly, but this one is a little more compact and I think a little bit more achievable for most people. And so we've got these small grid-like tiles that are covering several of the walls, but they're shifting between light and dark, which creates contrast and rhythm with a single material. Now, even with these dark tiles, the natural light that comes in through the open ceiling above the vanity and above the shower, as well as this glass doorway at the end, they just flood the space with light, so it still feels moody, but it never feels claustrophobic. Now, inside the shower, we've got this beautiful dark green stone with a swirling watercolor effect that just softens up these grid walls, which are, a little bit rigid in their straight lines, and just adds some additional visual depth in that shower space. And then these muted brass fixtures just break up that dark tile as well and echo the wood tones outside the shower, which ties the entire palette together, both inside the shower and outside. And so overall, because of the materials, the lighting, and the view of the greenery there, this space feels really luxurious and more like a retreat than just a standard bathroom. But speaking of a retreat, we need to look at bathroom number 5 because this one is just straight out of a luxury spa. All right, so first we've got these wall-to-wall glass, which is bringing the outdoors in. This bathroom doesn't just have a view, it's completely immersed in the view. And so these full-height windows blur the line between the interior and the exterior landscape, which makes the space feel so much larger than it actually is. And the materials used in here are natural and calm. We've got smooth concrete, this pale wood, and the textured black tile, which all feel super raw. So it's like a spa that's tucked inside of a mountain retreat. Now, to me, this sunken tub feels kind of like a hot spring. So it's not just a tub for soaking, but it actually anchors the room as a centerpiece, especially with these river rocks that it's sitting on top of. So we've got this double shower with dual rainfall heads that sit flush with the ceiling, and so there's no heavy hardware or other partitions cluttering up the space. It's all about having an open flow and clean lines, which is exactly what you want when you've got such a visually stunning space outside. And then in line with that, this floating vanity keeps everything feeling super light. Even with this wide sink and storage area, the vanity doesn't weigh the room down at all. Instead, this suspended design just adds just enough shadow and breathing space underneath to make the room feel completely light and in keeping with its surroundings. So as you can see, designing a beautiful bathroom isn't just about throwing money at marble or chasing the latest TikTok trend. No, the best bathrooms feel calm, customized, and cohesive, like they were built around a clear vision, not just pieced together from some catalog. The materials have texture, the fixtures have purpose, and nothing feels random or rushed. The lighting supports the mood, the layout flows naturally, and every detail looks like it belongs. And when you've got a bathroom that feels as good as these ones, it's not just a space you use, it actually becomes a part of the core experience of living in your home. So I hope you enjoyed this deeper dive into a few beautiful bathrooms that I've collected over the past couple of weeks. I really enjoy making videos like this, digging into some beautiful spaces, and if you do too, then I've left a couple more links in the description below where you can see some other videos like this, or you can watch this one up here. I'll see you there.